Football fans, welcome to the weekend edition of the Uncensored, the Positively Uncensored Arsenal podcast. And today, I promise you, it won't be just George and myself. We already have Mills and Doom, great friend of the podcast, with us. Hi, Mills.
Hello, how are you?
Yeah, speak up. I'm testing you, testing your mic. Are you? Tell the
Is it
audience.
not working? Oh no, is it working? It's working okay.
Yes, we are hearing you. I'm hearing you well.
Good.
And as usual, my good friend Blackburn George, ever ready, always on time. George, how are you, my friend?
Good.
So George and Mills, Ehab is on his way. Hedy of cricket fame and a big Arsenal fan who has been on this podcast before. He's somewhere. But we're going to go without them because this train stops for no one. And as soon as they come on, we'll entertain them in the discussion. Guys, I'm so happy to have you.
Nice to be here.
But the thing that struck me is Arsenal, not for the first time. Most of us have been together. All three of us have been together since during the Arsene Wenger period. Not for the first time. Arsenal is selling. Not selling as deeply, I suppose, as when Arsene was around. But they're certainly not buying. And the entire social media is Twitter, YouTube, the whole 9 yards. They are completely in an uproar. Why is the club not buying, demanding that we spend multi-millions on a new striker and a new central midfielder? And I'm like, why this ruckus? Mills, are you shocked? Are you as incensed as the rest of our fans on social media?
Well, it's easy to get dragged into it, isn't it? I mean, you start panicking and seeing Ainsley's gone, and then, XYZ's gone, and then Aubameyang apparently is, superfluous now, and he's not. Hey, you're right. And
so keep going.
So it is easy. Like when there's panic around, you can easily get dragged into the panic as well. What are we going to do? Oh, it's all Mills and Doom kind of stuff. So I think it's being mismanaged, at least from the outside. But we've still got a few days left in the transfer window, so perhaps they've got something lined up that I don't know about. If this was after the transfer window, perhaps then we could even look at it, with a sharper sort of microscopic eye on it and see whether it is such a big disaster. I'm really worried about I am worried about players like Aubameyang, who 1 minute, it seems indicative of sort of times we're in with sort of capitalism where, you're needed until you might have a run of bad form, and then that's it, and then you're no longer a hero, you're no longer wanted or anything like that. And of course, I don't know what went on. This whole coming back late or something. Maybe there was something deeper and words were said, and I don't think Arteta's someone who's going to take any lip off anybody. I think that's the way he is, and we don't know what was said, and maybe Aubameyang doesn't like playing underneath him, playing for him, those sorts of things. So it does seem, in one way, it seems a mess, and in another way, is it maybe, we're back to the original question you asked on earlier in the week on the email, sort of proposing for the show. Is there a sort of a method in the madness, And I wondered about this quite a lot, because I don't know whether madness is a politically correct term anymore, but people who are mad, they don't know that they're mad.
Yes.
And so method in the madness comes from Hamlet. So Hamlet pretends he's mad. Polonius believes he's mad, but then says, well, the gobbledygook that he's speaking, there is a kind of method in it. So we start to believe one guy's pretending to be mad, but we're never quite sure whether he's mad or not in the whole of the thing. Did he actually see the ghost, etc., etc.? And then another guy who's supposed to be an intellect says, well, he's mad, but there's method in his madness. So if there's something going on at the club that I have no idea that there's an ultimate plan or something else, I I've literally no idea. I've got no idea. I mean, I'd like to be able to say this is what I think is going on, but I sit there and I think I've seen another world-class player in Aubameyang lose his confidence and seem to sort of fade away, really, with almost no support. But the pressure was too much on him, or he didn't care anymore. And he was a bit like this at BFALB as well. I think that's really important to understand before he came to us. You know, he'd gone into sort of a very similar place where we are. I do think I'm sorry to always go back on about Wenger, and I know it's wrong in one way, but we're always judging everything by hierarchies, and no one ever sets out what's the hierarchical scale. And I think that Wenger put the bar up, really, for me, put it up the highest in my time at Arsenal. So I'm judging everything against that rather than what went back on against in sort of 83 or 84, which is a sort of a similar feeling to now. And you know, the sort of second season that Wenger's in, he's done the double. You know, and of course it was a different time, and who knows whether those teams, including the Invincibles, how they would cope under the pressure today, because especially this year and after the COVID, where podcasts really took off, it's an utter barrage every single day. You know, some guy does a fart somewhere and everybody's analysing it. And I understand people are hungry. You know, it's their life, it's their identity, and all of these things. But it also seems at times a little bit extreme as well. And,
so let me take that theme, George. Are you surprised? Are you surprised that the club is selling, not buying? Are you surprised by the extremes that the fans are going into? Tell us.
Well, I'm not at all surprised at anything that's going on. We're buying and we're selling and not buying up till now. It's not finished yet. It's not over. But I also look at it with the bigger picture that we're out of everything. Everything. We're out of the league. We're out of both cups. And we're not in Europe. We're out of everything. We're one game a week till the end of the season. Our squad is quite sufficient to get us through to the end of the season. It won't get us fourth. We would need to buy some really top-class players to get us fourth. You can't buy them in January. We just tried for that to Dusan. He wouldn't even answer the phone to us. So what do? Do you go pay stupid money for Dominic Calvert-Lewin or some other such second-rate striker? I don't blame them for not spending big or not spending at all. We have enough for me to get us through to the end of the season. We are not going to get top four. We don't have competitions to compete for. You may as well make your plans for the summer window and carry on from there, because it's fanciful to think that a new striker would change the dynamic and we were all of a sudden be favourites to get top four, because a new striker will get the same limited number of chances as any of our current strikers are doing, and they can't score if they don't get chances. A new midfielder, well, we've got Partey, we've got Xhaka, we've got Odegaard, who's playing really well at the moment. So who are we going to buy that's going to push one of those three out? And who wants to come to Arsenal? You know, it's not easy. It's not easy. We're a third-rate team. When I say that, I mean City are top-rate. Then you got Liverpool and Chelsea behind them, and then we're on the third tier with Manchester United. So Tottenham are having the same difficulty convincing anybody to go to them. Any top player doesn't want to come to us. So we have to invest in potential. We have to identify that potential, and then we have to get them rather than them go to someone else. It's not easy. And I think if the plan's in place, that we're building for the future, we're buying young and developing them, then I don't see the panic. But of course, if we're going to lose the transfer race, people will be upset because we've won the last few, according to people, because we spent that much. We won the transfer race, and
It's always really important.
yeah, it is important to them because as if that's what matters, and I don't think it matters whether we win this one or not. I just don't see us buying a player good enough in this window to make a difference. And I think we've got enough to carry on without buying someone who's going to be deemed as surplus to requirements 6 months, 12 months down the line. So, but to answer your question, of course, I'm not surprised at the outrage because people get outraged about anything these days.
But you know, George, outrage is what sells ads, what sells what they call them on YouTube, where you pay that money whenever you make a question and they do it online. Guys, it's
super chat.
Huh? The super chat. Yeah. Outrage sells the super chats, £10, £5. George, when you add that up, you have 3,000 people watching you live. It all adds up. And you know, the thing that strikes me is that, I mean, AFTV every day is transfer watch. And listen, my Jamaican friends over at AFTV, God bless you. You're making money. I am not jealous of you. But you have got to fill in content to keep those 1.3 million people happy. Ehab, football-wise, I mean, is they doing the right thing? You know, they're players who will never play. Callum Chambers can't get a game. Mm-hmm. What is the outrage? In fact, I think, and I want to comment on this, I think Kroenke has basically said, you know what, top four is out of the top four is a crapshoot, and I'm not spending 60, 70, 80 million pounds on a striker in January at a crapshoot. It seems so to me. Is this in line with your thinking?
I don't know. First of all, as George mentioned, it's really hard to get a good deal done in January.
Where you got this mic from, Ami?
Oh, okay, sorry. Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. It's hard to get a deal done in January, guys. It's not easy, and Arsene Wenger actually mentioned that a couple of times to media, and they always mocked him because they thought that he doesn't want to spend money.
Right.
But it's really hard. It's not easy. That's why there's actually people who count them, who say, oh, the greatest winter signings, and there are like 10 of them in the 20 years or 30 years of the Premier League. Now, the thing is, you know me, every time we don't spend money, I'm happy because it's not the right move. Not spending money is not the right move. As he said, we had enough players. George said we have enough players, and I've tweeted about that. We have a big enough team, as big as any team we had between 2008 until 2016 or 15. And it's enough to manage to fight West Ham and the Manchester United for the 4th, 5th, and 6th. So we should stick with that. The problem is, last few hours I've been reading on Twitter that there's a striker, Isak. He's in London, and people he's shopping and he's at a club, and they have even tracked his car down. And this guy is gonna cost 70, 80 million. He's the right guy. He is a great player. And he reminds me of a lot of great. He reminds me a lot of Nicolas Anelka, or he's a great striker. He's going to be a great striker if given upper body strength. The problem is, are we ready for that kind of commitment? We have bought players that we found out that do not fit our game. We have used players. We were talking about this yesterday. Arteta was praising Chambers for like the the last 3 months, or 2 transfer windows, saying that he needs him to play. It's very important. He's very happy for him, but he's not playing. He keeps him on the bench, and at the end he sold him for how much? £400,000 or something like that.
Villa, it's a pittance.
What is it?
I don't know what the amount is. I can tell you in a minute, but it's a pittance. Callum Chambers. Well,
it's 2 million, including.
It's a free transfer, but that's not correct. That's not what I read.
No. They said it's including bonuses and what we're gonna save on his wages till the end of the year. And wages are about 800,000, and I'm guessing bonuses is pretty much the same, £800,000. So we're looking to between 400 to 500 pounds for Callum Chambers. I went online and I looked a little bit. I don't know how much he's worth, and Transfer Market rates him at 12 million euros, and this is actually a good valuation for him. He's English. He's 25, I guess.
27 actually, 27.
Yeah. He's played at Arsenal. He's played at he's gone Fulham on loan. He's not a bad player, and we just haven't used him. And this is what's going on everywhere. This is what's going on with Aubameyang. If Aubameyang goes to Barcelona, he's scoring 25 goals. The rest of the way he's going to score 15, and next year he's going to bang in 25. Aubameyang has never been washed, guy. Same goes for Lacazette. If Lacazette goes to Atletico Madrid, who actually want him, he's going to do pretty much what Suarez did for them last year. That's why you don't spend money on players, because as the guy said, what are we gonna do with them? We're gonna give them 3 chances a game. We are looking for somebody to save us every match. This is what we're looking for. We're not looking for somebody to complete the team. We are not looking for the missing piece. Like Eddie Nketiah is a missing piece from Brighton, for example. But Haaland will not be useful to us, because we're gonna create 3 chances for him, and we want him to nick one of them. So if we concede on the other side, we're gonna get a draw. We need people to save us, which is what Saka and Emmitt Smith-Rowe and Odegaard when Xhaka has been doing. This is not.
I'm not going to interrupt you here, Ehab. One is that it is proven hard to do any deals in the January transfer window.
It is.
Any deal that is reasonable. That is separate and apart from the fact of how our manager is setting the team.
Yes, true.
I think you're saying that it doesn't. I think you could put Messi in our team and he will save us, but there are no chances being created for him.
What I'm saying is, before we go on and spend 70 million on Vlahovic, or Isak, or Bruno, or Bruno Guimaraes, or whatever, we have to make sure that we know how we play. We appreciate this. We have to realize that, what if he comes in and becomes like Aubameyang or Lacazette? He comes in and gets wasted. We don't create any chances for him, or Willian, or we don't, in our system, he gets lost or Partey. Partey today, we will be lucky to get 20-25 million on him. That's a 25 million lost on him. Lukongo, we bought him for 19 million. I don't think he's going to bring in that much. Even Ben White, can you see us selling him at 58 million? This is not going to happen. So before we buy anybody, especially in a tough window, we have to be careful because Chelsea, who invested 250 million in a legend of theirs, Frank Lampard, fired him because he didn't deliver. So I don't think the Stan and Josh are happy with spending 250 million with no results whatsoever.
All right, let me go back to Mills. Mills. So we are past the point. I think now all of us are saying that there should be no surprise. George puts it out. We're out of all competitions. We only have 17 more games for this rest of this competition for this year. 17. This is Arsenal FC, which used to be the Champions League FA Cup at this time of the year, right? So it seems to me there had to be some trimming. But I made a point, and I'm speculating here. But don't you think? What do you think? Well, let me put this other way. What do you think of Arteta making this pilgrimage all the way over to Colorado to sit with Papa Cranky at this time of the year to watch you think it's to watch an ice hockey game? You think it's to just simply watch the Blackhawks? What is this? What is this? What is this charade?
Well, he's either gone over there to beg for money, or he's been threatened, isn't he? And if you don't get in the top 4, you're out. Maybe that's, or at least Europa League. I don't know. I don't know. Do you think how much? Sorry, go on. Sorry,
George. What do you think? Why is this charade with him trotting off to the States?
It's like everything else we do. It's PR. PR. Simple as that. Now, you can spin it any way you want, but they'll spin it like he has a close relationship with the Cronkies, and he's being backed. You know, look at him. He's over the city watching a hockey game. They're very close now. You know.
Yes.
The big pals. Mikel's the future. They're selling Mikel as the future, and they'll continue to do so until everybody stops buying it. Like same as everything that you sell. When they stop buying it, you stop selling it. And I think they're selling Mikel. I think they're selling the youth program. It gives them time. It buys them years. It doesn't buy them a few months. It buys them years. And to be honest, I don't see an alternative to it. I have no problems with the current policy of buying young talent and developing it because I don't see an alternative.
George,
but the trip to America is just PR.
I have to dispute that with you. I really have to, and I'll ask you because, I'm not in agreement with you. I mean, Abramovich said, Frank, I've spent £250 million on you for 2 years, and you're not making any progress. Why is it so hard for the Crankies to say, hey, this is not working? George, I'm going to give you...
Because they can't roll again. They can't roll again. It's as simple as that. Abramovich can write that 250 million off. He doesn't care. It's gone. He'll roll again. Try again. Try another manager. Arsenal can't do that. We're not in a position to do that. And they won't do it. And they've never made any intentions that they were going to do that. They've invested heavily in Mikel Arteta. That's a fact. They want to see a return on their investment. That's a fact. They'll stick with him because they're all in poker terms. They've gone all in. And
you agree with that? Ehab, do you?
I do agree 100%. And it's one of the stupidest things we've done. Just invest that much money in a new manager.
Yeah. And you Mills and Doom, you think that we are stuck with this man after listening to these two heavyweights?
I don't know what happened. What happens if we're eighth again, and we're not in any competition next year in Europe in any way whatsoever? So it was a complete dud of a season. So he's come in. I mean, like sometimes I think we're in
eighth again.
Is what? Sorry.
No, so who wants to answer that question? What if we come eighth again? George or Ehab?
Well, I think this is, I don't know, man. It's just stupid. We spent 250 million for nothing. I've said the team that Arteta inherited was good enough. It was good enough to get us 8 and no cup, one FA Cup. The team that Arteta inherited, which is the team that got the FA Cup, but instead of that, we went on, alienated stars that were used to be in here, that were living here, and we spend a lot of money on players that they're good. I like him. I love all of them. I love KT. I love Ramsdale. He's my favorite player right now. Odegaard, but I am not. The manager cannot get anything out of them. They are right now. The money that we have spent is gone. It's gone. It's gone. It's useless until this guy learns. And the thing is, how's Arteta gonna learn if you are going to plug the holes with money? You know, playing with an okay team and trying to overachieve with it will teach you a lot more than saying, "Oh, there's something I didn't like when he did the press conference after Liverpool, and he's talking about, oh, we have 10 players out, we have 9 players out, 8 players out, and no, man, you don't have this. You have 11 international, strong, young players that you picked on the field, and you have a bench of players that you don't want to play. We did not choose to play Ben White as right back. You had Tavares, you had Chambers, and because now we are going to watch Tavares exit next because of a stupid move he's done against Nottingham Forest. Arteta's stupid move. Tavares done nothing wrong. He had bad 30 minutes. Messi had that 3 times this month. So what you have to do and what you need to do is this team is enough. Now Arteta is used to this shit. He's used to go in and blaming that, oh, I don't have enough players. I don't have the players needed to do that. How? Why?
You know, Ehab and George, I mean, I think we're saying, I hope we're not saying the same thing over and over, but I had like a red pill moment this week. You know, George and I have been saying, we're not Arteta out, and I'm not even Arteta out. But it struck me that the mismanagement has reached almost like an existential level. How can you drive Aubameyang out the club without a backup plan, and then at the last minute you are chasing Dusan, Jonathan David, Isaac, all kinds of people. Now, listen, most of that is just speculation, but we know they were seriously after Dusan. Then all the sales, the player values are like you got rid of Callum Chambers for virtually free. I see on transfer market, Torreira is 1.3 million euros, George. He was player of the month for Fiorentina this month. Guendouzi is going to go for virtually little or nothing. And I'm like, this is not getting better, George. This is not getting better, Ehab. This is not getting better, Mills and Doom. It's like, and that's why I posted those tweets that I did this week. I mean, I'm like, Ehab is saying this can continue until it gets better. George is saying it's all in. Mills, you're Mills and Doom. But it's like this is like a pattern. And I was like, it's crazy. And George, I'm going to give you the first dibs at that. You're saying they don't have a choice. I'm saying he's driving the VAT. And we're talking about Tavares. People are turning on Tavares already. I see people on Twitter refuse to accept that in the 10 games that Xhaka played, we won 8. And the 10 games that he didn't play, we lost 8. George, tell me, am I missing something?
Speechless. We're on the ground here. There's been some horrendous. He's tanked the value of any players that were in the squad.
Yes.
The only players that are worth any money now are the young players that he inherited. Smith Rowe, Martinelli, and Saka. Probably Odegaard has maintained his value. Everybody else has tanked. And but that's irrelevant now because it's done. What do you do? Well, I mean, I'm not advocating we keep him. What I'm saying is we will keep him. because they're committed to him and they've invested in him and they want a return on their investment and they think that they can get it. They still think he can provide the success that the Cronkies have invested to get. I mean, he's had more backing than any manager in the history of the club. Any manager. It's ridiculous the amount he's been financially backed. And what has he done? He's reduced the value of the squad. It seems crazy, but that FA Cup win seems to have given him license to do what the fuck he wants. And forgetting that the guys mainly responsible for winning the FA Cup have been shoved out the fucking door.
Almost all of them.
Almost all of them, yeah. And it's a strange situation, but I really do think they will stick with him until it's impossible to do it anymore. And you say, what if we come eighth again? If we come eighth again, all that'll happen is, but eighth with this young squad that will get better. We were eighth before with an old squad, with bad players, with disruptive players, with lazy players. We got eighth with them, but this eighth is better because this eighth can take us to top four. That's what you'll be sold, and that's what the fans will buy until eventually they'll go like that. Oh, no, we've had enough of this. And at which point, he'll be sacrificed and they'll get someone else in. But that's how they're selling it, and that's how we're buying it. They can't do it unless the fan base buy into it.
I completely agree. Mills, you're the representative of the fan base. Your family been like with the club for nearly 100 years. Does this remind you of anything? Where are we? He comes eighth again. He smashes the value of virtually every player. I mean, Maitland-Niles is sold to AS Roma for 500,000 euros. That's what Transfer Market says. 500,000 euros. Ainsley Maitland-Niles, right back in the Europa League finals 2 years ago. 500,000 euros.
And a player that 20 million pounds was bid for 6 months ago, basically.
Correct. It's madness.
And we've turned down a bid of 20 million for Callum Chambers in the past as well.
Exactly.
And we were told that Aubameyang was worth 50 million pounds, 40 million pounds, 30 million pounds, or whatever it was that still the City was with, when we gave him that new ridiculous deal that somehow it's now been interpreted that he put a mask on, broke into the fucking Colney and signed the contract without anybody knowing. He was given that contract. He was screaming at him, please stay, please stay. Yes. Everybody was saying, he's the most important asset that the club has. He's our best player. He's our talisman. We have to do anything to sign him.
Mills. Let Mills is a representative of the fan base. 100 years, Mills. You speak. Mills, my friend. Does this remind you of any period in the history of the club?
Yeah, kind of like after Brady went in that sort of early 80s period, probably after 82 into 83, 84, it was a bit like this.
That's bad?
And no, yeah, kind of. I mean, it was one of those weird things. If you look at the semi-final between Arsenal and Manchester United, when you look at the game now, it looks like we're in the game. But I remember at the time, we were chasing those teams and we had no chance. And it feels like that now. I want to ask you a question. How much is the debt at Arsenal at the moment? Does anybody know?
Well, and I have not seen a financial statement for 2000 and 2001. He has a better feel for that. But I haven't seen any, and that's what I go by. I don't guess. My profession.
I'm sorry, it's around 250 million. That's what they're talking about, up to last year.
And how much is Manure? Manure about like what, 450, and the Spuds are about 606, I think.
They're in a different league altogether. I mean, that might be just the commercial value. I mean, their commercial is like 500. I think I was looking at 500 million pounds a year commercial income. That's it. That's why they can squander money like a drunken sailor. But contemporary, you as a fan, and I know you're not the regular fan, but how long can we sustain this, my friend? 8th again, 6th again.
Well, I don't know. I suppose it just means what's their objective? What's the objective of the club? If they're happy to let it run in neutral and, get rid of the big wage earners and any superstars or world-class players, and we just poodle along and, maybe one, like the old West Ham or become like them or something like that, or the old Spuds, and maybe sometimes we have a chance to get in the Europa League, But other than that, I mean, I can't even see us, even if we got into the Champions League now, we'd be kicked out straight into the Europa League straight away.
Oh, absolutely.
So at least at this point here now, which is stupid because I know it's not next season, all those things, but I don't know. I don't, it's sort of baffling. And I think in a way I'm the wrong fan to ask. It's like that sort of, it's like a weird moment in a long marriage where suddenly you're looking at someone and think, well, I don't even recognize you at all. And the glory days seem to have gone by, and what's going on? And I don't know I don't want to divorce, but I don't really want to even sit in the same room with you too much. I will, because there's aspects I like, but there's also a lot of other things sitting in the room that I'm just not really interested in. And
we're using your metaphor, Mills. We're gonna get sick. What George is saying is gonna go on until we get sick and tired of Arteta. Don't you agree, then, Ehab? Because this is what I mean. George, I respect George's opinion tremendous. I see people throwing pot shots at George, but George, I'm gonna tell you, George, openly, and all these people, you have been mostly right on these issues.
Yeah.
But Ehab,
Yeah.
I think it's just gonna grind on until the fans get sick and tired of this guy.
Well, the thing is that I came in a little bit hot and angry, but just to organize everything, when you take over a team, you must have a plan. And this is something anybody can agree on. Is you come in, you're gonna have a team that some of the players you do want, some of them you don't want them. So you have to decide which ones are going to stay and which ones you are going to let go. And the players that you're going to let go, you have to replace. And you have to identify your targets. And after you identify your targets, you go out and get those kind of players and see where that takes you. Like if this takes you from 12th from 17th to 8th, then you think, okay, now I want to take the next step to get to 5th or 4th. And this is what you do. You see what's missing from the team. You see where are the weak points, the weak links on the team. You replace them with better players, or you develop some of the young players, and you will have a better team. And this is what you do it. This is how you advance the right way. But none of this has happened. He came in, and the marquee players on the team were, and I'm going to say this, Mustafi, Aubameyang, Xhaka, those were the main players on the team that he inherited. And Bellerin, those were the main players. Holding maybe, Leno was one of the good players.
George, what did George say? George, say that, George. Ozil, of course. Don't forget
Ozil, true. Yeah. Ozil. They had that team, and first 10 games, he decided to keep all of the players. He cannot settle by anybody. There is no transfer window. So he decides to keep everybody and see how it goes. And it went well for him. We were 17th. We jumped to 8th somehow. We won the FA Cup. And this is where he should have just thought about it. But he didn't. Midway through, he started paying Ozil for sitting on the bench. Not even on the bench, at home. Yes. 350,000 a year. And a week. And after that, this is the most erratic thing. Ainsley Maitland-Niles, he was in consideration of man of the match every time he played. Every match that Ainsley Maitland-Niles has started for Arteta, he was voted man of the match. Go back and check it. Now, well, he played 90 minutes. He did this in the semifinal against Chelsea in the FA Cup. And he came in the final and played on the same side as KT, Kieran Turner. And they were a menace. They just fucked with the right side of City all the time. Now, when you look at something like this, you have to start thinking, I need to build on those players. Aubameyang, he's the one that won us the whole thing. Bellerin was playing on the right side and he was okay. Mustafi, we were actually concerned that Mustafi could not start the final because for the first few months of Arteta, he was our best defender. And this is what we should have done. Those are the strong points. He identified them as a strong point. But instead of doing all of this bullshit, he went on and he got a center midfielder for $50 million to play next to Xhaka. And all the young guys, people tell me that he's trying to elevate.
Willian. You got Willian. You went and got the
Willian. Yeah, true.
Yes.
The guys tell me, people tell me, now he's doing a young squad. But what happened to the young players that we had? The players that grew up at Arsenal. Maitland-Niles, Eddie, Joe Willock, Reece Nelson. Reece Nelson played, every time Reece Nelson was put in, he played well. He scored and assisted against Liverpool, the CL winning Liverpool, the league winning Liverpool, against Van Dijk. He actually stole the ball from Van Dijk, made him look silly. He was playing well. He played well in 3-4 games, and then he's shipped to Netherlands or something like that.
Yes.
He's been on 2 loans after that. So what you have to do, we had young players for free, and we went out and we bought young players for money. And apart from Ramsdale, I don't think any of them is good enough. You know, Lokongo is 21 or 22. We bought him for 19 million euros. What's his name? Ben White, 58 million euros. He's 22. But is he an improvement over Holding? Is he that much of an improvement from 2.5 to 58 million? We got Tomiyasu, which I like. I like him a lot. It's a good move, and I think we should have brought him in while Bellerin was in here, because it would have been totally a good idea, especially with playing 3 at the back, if you convert him to a third center back. We had Chambers, who was actually doing well. We almost recalled him from loan. We had Balogan coming in, Florian. We have players who are still in our young ranks, but we got rid of those players and we spent a lot of money on the new youngsters that we haven't approved anything.
Well,
Go ahead.
I'm going to try and kind of what you have done is rehash. If you think about it for a minute, right?
Mm-hmm.
First, he went for experience. Then when that failed last year, he went for youth. Don't you forget. And you know what, George?
True.
And you've made this point, and I'm going to say before kind of tie this in all together. The fans have advocated all of this. Isn't that? The fans have said, we need you get rid of these players that are dead. You look at the narrative Ehab just gave us. The players that did well, they said, no, we need to go out and buy, George. Spend money. And look at the status, look at the state of the club now. The fans have enabled this. Am I wrong or right?
Yeah, you're right. But I also think the fans are being led down this path. You know, the PR in the last 2 years is gone stratospheric from the club. We're led down the path of which players are doing well and which players aren't doing well and which players are good enough and which players aren't good enough. Mikel Arteta, as soon as Mikel Arteta stops playing someone, that's the final definitive answer is not good enough, and it's but I think it's two things happened. First of all, when he came, I'm sure he had an absolute belief in his ability. He thought he was going to be able to do what Pep Guardiola does wherever he goes, only without the money. I'm convinced he actually believes his own hype, which is fine. You need someone with confidence. But I think once he got here, he suddenly realised that he's at a club now that he can't go and buy the best players that he wants for his system. They're not available to him. And he's having to put second-rate players and try and get them playing like first-rate players, and that never works. There's only Arsene Wenger can do that. So I think it's unfortunate that he's realised maybe that his systems aren't going to work, and he's struggling to come up with a plan B, and also the club isn't what he thought it was. He was here and he was used to Arsene Wenger going out and buying Mesut Ozil, Alexis Sanchez, being able to attract big names and then wanting to come to the club and play under Arsene Wenger. He probably thought that they would want to come to the club and play under him. Well, they don't want to come to the club and they don't want to play under him. So it's a difficult position he's found himself in. And but as I said, the club have backed him. And I just feel we're in a position now where we have to let it run out,
Yes.
We're not going to sack him. I just don't believe we're going to sack him. And I don't also believe it's the right move to sack him because they're invested not so much in the project, but in their belief in him. It's like people who refuse to admit that they were wrong about Arsene Wenger. All you can see from everything that's gone on since, the way the team plays, the results, everything is exactly as we said it would be when Arsene went, worse. But many people refuse to believe it because they're emotionally invested in what they previously believed. And I think the Cronkies are emotionally invested in what they believed would work with Mikel Arteta because they've invested so much time, effort and money. They desperately want to see a result. And it's almost impossible for them to turn around and hold their hands up and say, well, we got that wrong, didn't we? They're not going to do it. They're not going to do it. Not yet, anyway. Not yet. And I think even if we come eighth, again, they're not going to do it. And I don't think we'll get top four. I'm seriously doubting we'll get top six. But we have a chance, as I said before, because Partey, Xhaka, El Neni, as your three holding pivot players,
Yes.
any combination of two of them is good enough to challenge for top four.
They're good enough to beat most teams that are 6 and below, George.
Yes, they are.
They're not good enough to beat Chelsea, Liverpool, and City, and will struggle against.
No, we don't expect to beat them.
Right, and that's what you are hoping, that all things fall into place. You don't have too many games, and they will take you through. But Mills, we were there last year. We were there about this time last year. Well, we were improving. We were making a big run. You remember after Boxing Day, we were the best performing team. If we kept it up, we would have been top 3? And at the end, it all fell away. We finished 8th. So, Mills, where do you think this will end for this season? There's 2 more days to the 31st. Today's what, the 30th? Monday's the 31st. I don't have my calendar here, Mills. Today's the January 29th, the day we're recording. So there are 2 more days.
I think we're going to end up 8th. And I think it's just a complete and utter horrible season. No commitment in the FA Cup. bizarre commitment to me. Maybe this is really stupid what I'm saying. Like I said before we came online, like probably Gerrard had a good look at Callum Chambers from the first leg, but I didn't understand why Arteta didn't give that team, adding obviously Xhaka had been sent off, but add another guy in, whether it had been shuffle it around maybe a little bit, but play this team that played in the first leg. Look, maybe I'm out of date with all of this, and I don't mind if I am, but no, I really mean it. I probably am out of date. I mean, my time was when you had 12 players, 13, 14 players for a whole season.
Yes.
And it was O'Leary. Who was it when we lost in a cup game against somebody? O'Leary. I remember O'Leary playing with a strapped up leg in one game, and he could hardly bloody walk, let alone play. It was ridiculous. But but what worries me is something else. Is like. This is really petty, and this is on a sort of a club level, that you've loved for years and all that sort of thing. But I'm worried that the players who are in Arsenal at the moment, when they leave, and especially in these post-Wenger years, that they're going to have a certain kind of bitterness, and they won't want to come back necessarily, and they won't want to be part of the club. And that's part of the culture and the structure of these clubs. And I mean, look at the players who are leaving and how they've been treated and what's gone on. I'm not saying necessarily to some of the fans or whatever, but I think there's so many of them. They're going to gossip amongst themselves, and there's a bitterness, and then it goes around, and who wants to come to Arsenal, and that worries me for the future. I realise that you can dangle money and people will come, but as Ehab was saying, and as George has said in other podcasts, you've got to get that unity in the team, and you've got to get it flowing. And I don't feel we're unified, and I don't think we've been unified for a long time. And you can point the finger in all the directions, but it doesn't matter, because sooner or later we've got to try and get that. And
Mills, you're not wrong. Mills, you're not on Twitter, but Callum Chambers in his goodbye message. Thank Arsene Wenger.
I know, I saw it. Yeah. I saw
at
it.
the end of it, he made no mention, and that speaks a lot.
Sorry, go on.
You want to say something, because I'm gonna wrap up it now.
No, I was just going to say, like players like Meza, if Aubameyang goes, Pepe's probably going to be kicked out at some point as well. I mean,
we forgot him. The best player at AFCON. He can't make. I just don't get it, guys. I'm sorry, I just don't get it. This is what in my mentally I can't get it. These players excel elsewhere; they're not excelling. I know George explains, but I just can't. It blows my mind. Ehab?
Yeah.
You're going to have the last word, my friend. You came in late. You have the last word. But I was telling my Jamaican English friends who dominate AFTV and their various TV shows and YouTube shows are going to go crazy over the next 2 days, demanding transfers, demanding that the club spend money. Nothing that has been said in the last 20, 30 years that January is the toughest. It doesn't matter. But at the end of the day, what do you think is going to happen? You think Papa is going to come with some money to save the day?
To be logical. And I think if Arteta wasn't, if we didn't have a manager, we would finish top 4. Let me clarify on that. You get Xhaka back, you get Partey back, and you get all the players back. In a couple of weeks, we could be playing the same way we were playing before the City game, where we had a good run, where we kept scoring goals against weaker teams. And this is what you have to do. Now, the problem is, in this COVID pandemic and in this the history of Arsenal injury, some of our players are going to go down. Now, Arteta has not learned to play. He has learned to play with a certain 11 at a high level. If any changes are made to that 11, he doesn't know what to do yet. And the problem is what he did with Tavares, for example, what he did with Chambers. Now, on the right back and the left back, we don't have the same level if anybody goes down. Tomiyasu has been hurt, and you never know when he's going to get hurt again. KT has a bad history of injury. He goes down with an ankle or something, God forbid. I hate to see it, but if it happens, Chaka goes out with a red card. You don't know what happens. You don't have AMN anymore. You don't have any of those anymore. Pepe is not playing. He's not playing Pepe. If Saka gets injured for a couple of games, then everything changes. We are back to playing like we played against Forest. Now he has to keep these 11 healthy, and he has to learn to play better when small changes are made to those 11. If he can do that, we can make top 4. But I don't think he will. What he did with Tavares is that I don't think a high school manager would make the same mistake. 30 minutes of bad football after a month off. So 30 minutes of bad football after a month off, and you take him off because you're afraid to lose to Nottingham fucking Forest? What the fuck, man? How is he gonna get his confidence back? How are you going to call on him again? And the thing is, he doesn't put his arm around him and say, okay, I did this for so-and-so. No. He takes him off the team sheet for 2 games after that. He's not even on the team sheet. So this is not coming back. This is going to be a problem. His man management has been the worst I've ever seen.
Well, that's the point. His man management is horrible. But we're the same ground.
If we're lucky and we don't get injuries, I don't see us beating the likes of West Ham and Tottenham, because Conte knows what he's doing. So I'm saying 6th, if we 5th or 6th actually. But if Mikel Arteta gets on the way, we're back to 8th. If he keeps managing the team the way that he wants to manage it, and trying to make shit work he doesn't learn how to make shit work with different players, then we are going back to 8th. So I see a chance at 6th because we played well before the City game. We beat West Ham in a game that we dominated. We beat Norwich, I guess, a couple of weak teams, Watford. So this is it. I see a path that leads to 4th and 5th, but I'm not sure that the manager will allow it. And as George said, he's irreplaceable at the time being. We are in debt. We committed 550 million in the past 3.5 years to players that we don't use. Our income is not what it used to be, and some people were telling me the payroll is less, which is like 20 million less, which is pretty much what we paid Mustafi, Kolasinac, and Socrates to leave. It's what we paid Willian just to go to Brazil and announce that no, he didn't take any money. You're telling me that the football agent gave away 20 million pounds to Arsenal because poor Arsenal can't pay it? Well, I mean, those people. If Willian decided to give 20 million pounds, his agent would have been at the door with a bunch of mobsters asking for the money.
Well, yeah, because he's supposed to get a cut out of that. Guys, I think we have exhausted this point. This subject. George is saying likely George top 8. No, limited optimism, possible at 6, 4th and 6. Correct, George?
If I had to guess, I would be 7th or 8th.
Ehab says 5th or 6th. Ehab, he's gone. Ehab, I see you, but you're not. You're frozen. Mills,
8th.
8th.
Maybe if something works out okay, we go on a run. Maybe. But it's been like this the whole season. Maybe 1 week we might win, 1 week we might not. I don't know. You can't tell anymore. It's beyond my understanding. So, sorry.
Yeah. I think the man management is horrible, and I'm not optimistic. I'm not. I think he has valid reasons for not signing any players in this window, but it has been a travesty the way he has managed the personnel he has had. And that's what makes me not optimistic. But you'll never know. Thank you, guys.
Thanks.
I hope this has resonance. I know it's not a audience out there. It's not a match review. We're not picking away players, but I just wanted to share with you that all this noise about failure to buy players over the winter. It's just noise. It's a way of gaining attention to gain your money, super chats, the whole 9 yards. The real essence here is the job that Mikel Arteta is doing. That has been the focus of today's podcast. Thank you very much, guys.
Thank you,
Bill.
guys.
Thank you,
Thanks.
George, who's been called. Thank you, Ehab. Nice
Okay,
beard.
bye-bye, guys.
Nice beard since we last saw you. Thank you very much.
Bye.
Bye.
See you.
Bye.
Like and subscribe, guys. Thank you very much.